Real quick show of hands. How many people in my audience in the last, say, year or two have had this particular insomnia jeopardy experience? The day's done, it's dark, you're tired, you go lay down, you have your phone on the nightstand, and you just want to check last couple of things, maybe watch a Florida Maquis Antarctica video, and before you know it, all sorts of different ideas spring into your mind from nowhere. And you try to put them out of your mind, but you can't. Maybe you hear a noise. What was that? You think about ways the world could end, and maybe some memory pops into your head from 20 years ago, and you ask yourself, why did I do that? Why didn't I do something different? I think we've all had this. I am not immune, of course, to this, and something popped into my head that made me think about a scripture, and I wonder if this particular paradigm was spoken of in the Bible. I'd like to cover it today and share a few other things with you as well. The particular scripture that I'm referencing is, so it will be at the end of the age. The angels will come out and separate the evil from the righteous and throw them into the fiery furnace, in that place where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Now, this idea of a fiery furnace is interesting because this word furnace comes from the root word Fornax. And that has a different translation, and it's going to blow your mind. It really is when you look at a part of the brain and also another place that word is used. Weeping and gnashing of teeth. This idea of being sad and having regret and grinding your teeth because of it. We're going to cover that, and over at the Patreon channel, we're going to do the adult, more R-rated version of this particular video. We're going to do the more adult R-rated version of this video. Over there, we can partner with Vimeo, and we can talk about things in a way that adults used to be able to talk about things without having to censor themselves like they do here on YouTube. So if you'd like to join us over there, it's only a single US dollar per month. And that's for all the videos, hundreds and hundreds of videos over there you'll have access to. Even less if you sign up for an entire year, like 3 pennies a day. And for 90 days, fully refundable, no questions asked. Come right back at you. It's not for everybody, I get it. God bless all of you. Thank you, those of you who showed up over there. Down in the comments, they will attest the videos are a different level. They are the way they used to be on YouTube. Now, everybody's had this experience where you haven't thought about something in a long time and it's a regret, and you think, man, I wish I could go back and change things. I wish I could fix this. If I had only done that, my life would be better this way. My life would be better that way. This idea of regret. It's like a furnace. It's like this idea of burning and purging away, which is what a furnace was. Now, this was something that popped up in my newsfeed that got me thinking about this. California courts can now seize, giant air quotes, transgender kids from parents. The U.S. state has passed law on affirmation of children. Now, this terrifies a lot of folks, but it wouldn't under a different circumstance. How many in my audience remember the 80s? How many remember the whole goth thing? And kids would transform themselves into these dark characters, and for a while they would just, exist like in a different world. Parents didn't like this, but they realized it wasn't the end of the world. Why? Because it was just makeup, and it was just wigs, and it was just clothes. See, deep down inside, same person. Wash off the makeup, take off the wig, let the hair grow out and the dye grow out, and different wardrobe choices. They knew it wasn't permanent. You put a wig on and make up your face all you want. It's not permanent. You see, a furnace in our lives, when we're tested, will burn away all of the surface stuff, and who we really are will come forth. Now, This is just another example of the same thing, of somebody just, when you know who the actress is and you've seen her in other roles and you see this, you just wouldn't recognize them. But that doesn't change who they are. All of the stuff. But what's going on in California with the trans stuff, a lot of people are like, well, wait, Maki, they're talking about surgery. Yeah, that's right. That's actually changing things. And that's the difference. You see, India is going to be India for a long time, even if tomorrow they vote to change their name to Bharat. They're trying to change the name of India because India is a colonial name from Great Britain. It's not going to change one iota of anything in India or in this land. If they want to be known as Bharat, we'll call them Bharat. But it's going to be the same people. It's going to be located the exact same place that it was yesterday. And their culture isn't going to change. Nothing's going to change just by changing the name. Just like this. Doesn't change a thing. Doesn't change a thing if your kid would walk out tomorrow, and have white face paint and black this and all this other. It's just paint. It's just finery. It's just the surface stuff. And Fornax, burns all that away. Now, funny story. Native American group touts overwhelming support to return Redskins name to NFL. Did anybody pick this up? Did anybody pick up what was going on here? See, what happens when you give somebody something and then you take it back again? What happens when you give somebody something and then you ask for it back again? It's kind of funny, but what am I really talking about? What's the meat of the video today? The region known as California. Okay, that name, California, was just a new version, a modernized version of something called Californos. It literally meant lime, calcium, and furnace. Lime and furnace. Behold, I have refined thee, but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction. Isaiah 48:10. See, this idea of a furnace is a burning away and a refining. What a furnace will reduce things down to their base elements. And that's why for millennia, going back literally through all of known history, the concept of a furnace was part of civilization. A furnace was used for many, many, many things. There's the story, and very strangely, there's a part of the brain. A part of the brain, here it's called the arch, called the fornix. That part of the brain is the part of the brain that has to do with memory, ergo regret. That fornix, that furnace, that arch, that's basically from the root word that has to do with the arch of the furnace, is the exact same thing that is going on here. See, it's that whole memory. It's that whole thinking about all of the things that you read, all of the things that you saw, decisions that you've made, things from the past. All that is like a furnace in your mind. And you would look back and think, what could I burn away? What did I do that wasn't me? What would make things better going forward? And it's literally a part of the brain where you could sit and burn in your own regret, in your own furnace. Self-made. Furnaces had a point. A lot of people remember the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego from the Bible, where they were told, you will either worship this Babylonian king, or we will throw you in a furnace and we will burn you. And they said, well, throw us in the furnace, but we're not worshiping one way or the other. And we all know the story that the Spirit of God was in there with them, the fourth man. And they walked out of the furnace, and the king was absolutely amazed and could not understand, because they had reduced themselves down to the base element of what they were going to be. They said, we are going to be servants of God, or we will be burned in the fire. And this is the type and shadow of the end days. We are now in a new Babylon where we are being tried. We are being tried with a furnace, where people are having these moments where they sit and they think, and all of these memories come back, and it's like a furnace. But the problem is, there are some decisions that you can make that you can never take back. You can look back at, if you were a goth, for example, if you had that phase in your life, you can look back and say, yeah, that was pretty funny, but it didn't change me. Yeah, I painted my face up. Yeah, I had all the black clothes. And I had the dark moods, and I made everybody else around me miserable, just like I was. But eventually I grew out of it. It wasn't permanent. It wasn't permanent at all. But what's going on here is something very, very different. And there will be regret. There will be things you cannot go back. Once you go through this process, there will be things you can't reverse. And this is the problem. This is what they don't get. The idea of it being non-reversible, that somebody could make a decision now as a child, an impressionable child, and then have a lifetime of regret later. Just like, believe it or not, all of us do over a lot of different things. And everybody has it. Everybody, almost every night sometimes, we'll have these choices that we've made that no furnace can burn away. We can see them more clearly now. The furnace has separated everything, but there's not much that can be done about it. You just got to kind of go forward. And I think it's odd that the vast majority of the transitions are one direction. And there's this really funny, and I just want to leave with this so that it's not all negative. There is, you can find it, there's a conversation, very brief one, in the Marvel universe between Wonder Woman, who, if those of you who don't know about the story of Wonder Woman, she comes from the Amazons. She comes from a land of all women who are interested in nothing but all women. Hawkgirl refers to them as Brazilians. And there's a conversation they're having at the end of one of their scenes, and Hawkgirl says to Wonder Woman, "Who wants to live in a world without men?" And Wonder Woman replies, "They can't possibly be that essential to your life." And Hawkgirl then replies, "Don't knock it till you've tried it, princess." So I don't know, maybe as a guy I find that funnier than I should, but I wanted to leave with something, that was a little bit more kind of light and upbeat. But who remembers, and we'll leave with this, the idea that they changed the name of Fort Bragg to Fort Freedom or Fort Victory or something. It's kind of funny that they actually changed the name of the fort over in North Carolina, but they didn't change the name in California. California. There's also another story that says the name of California came from the name Calida Fornax, which means fiery furnace. So there's a whole bunch. They've tried to woke it up and say that it has to do with some word Khalifa, some queen, and that's all brand new. That's not historical. There's absolutely no historical reference to the word Khalifa in the 1500s in North America. So don't be fooled by that. That has nothing to do with it. But the real question you're going to have to ask yourself is this, and watch for this. If they're going to change the name of India to Bharat, are we going to see California start to change the names of all of these cities that are Christian referenced, like Sacramento, the Franciscans, San Francisco, San Jose, Santa Barbara, Santa Monica, and all of the missions? Are they going to get rid of, even San Diego is a reference to a Bible saint. Are they going to get rid of all of the Christian reference? Would be my question. If India needs to change its name from India to Bharat to reclaim its actual heritage, and Fort Bragg North Carolina can't be Fort Bragg, North Carolina, but Fort Bragg, California can still be Fort Bragg, California. What about all of this religious reference? Since we know that Californians in general, at least the ones in charge, have no use for the Bible, have no use for Christianity, have no use for God, clearly to reflect that, they should change the names of all these cities. San Francisco's, how many are there? It's like it's literally all of them. Santa Rosa, San Francisco, San Jose. There's a San Luis Obispo, San Juan Bautista, the Missions, Sacramento, the capital, of course, Santa Barbara, Santa Maria. I think I said Santa Monica already. Just go San Bernardino, San Diego. So just wanted to cover that. Just wanted to, I thought it was an interesting parallel between a state that literally has in its name fiery furnace, and then the Bible reference of this furnace, this burning and purging away, and the revealing of the truth of a thing. If you want to know the truth of a thing, throw it in a furnace. It might seem like it's something, but a great way to break it down into its constituent elements, see if I can find the picture, is toss it in a furnace. It'll break it down. So I will leave it there. Thank you guys so much for your patience. I very much appreciate it. I know we skipped a video yesterday. Just had things I had to take care of. Just did not have the time. So I will try to keep those days fewer and farther between than, they should be. God bless all of you that are at Patreon. Would definitely love to have you there. It's going to make a huge, huge difference. I've also got something coming up that I had shared a while ago about the smallpox thing that we talked about. I'll reference that over at Patreon. There's a fear now of a smallpox outbreak. I'm not going to talk about it here on YouTube. I'll talk about it over there, and I'll tell you how I'm involved in helping to prevent it. So anyway, would love to have you over there at Patreon. $1 US. There's a $5 level, not required. There's like 4 or 5 videos over there for the $5 folks, just because so many of them showed up. I felt guilty. I felt like I needed to create another level for them. So we're going to be doing videos for both coming up here very soon. But next day, 24 to 48 hours, we're going to have up the adult version of this video, because there's more to be revealed. So God bless. Have a wonderful day, wonderful evening, wonderful weekend. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. Pray for each other. Lift each other up. God bless. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.